I offer myself at the lotus feet of my most beloved master. A very warm salam to all my brothers and sisters and elders gathered here. I'm pretty sure you must be a little sick of seeing and hearing me by now, as much as you might deny it. But it is my privilege, my blessing, to be here and address all of you this morning. One of my go-to books, texts that I always look up to for messages, for learning, for understanding, is a work by Khalil Gibran called The Prophet. And if you haven't come across it, I would highly recommend that you do. So there is a prophet who's there at a village, and it's time for him to leave. And the entire community has gathered there, saddened that the prophet has to leave, but they decide to make good use of the time they have with him, and they ask him questions on various topics, on love, on marriage, on children. And each one of them is the response that the prophet gives to the villagers. That is the theme of the book. So I'm going to quote a few lines from On Talking, when the prophet is asked to speak about on talking, how should we speak? And I'm just quoting a few lines here. He says, "Let the spirit in you move your lips and direct your tongue. Let the voice within your voice speak to the ear of his ear. For his soul will keep the truths of your heart as the taste of wine is remembered when the color is forgotten and the vessel is no more." So I stand before you, not sure if as fine wine or aerated cola, so bear with the taste. Like I was mentioning in my talk yesterday, how Bhagwan always finds a way to reach out to you, to give you the message that you need, when you need it, and it is never delayed. It was a very significant day in my life, in 2019, when I had to give my PhD defense. No matter how much you are familiar with your topic, no matter how much you have prepared for the defense, there is still a lot of nervous energy, and you're still a little unsure if there is something that's going to come at you which you're not prepared for. And my PhD, which I will talk about later, was significant for me because it was at Bhagwan's behest. And Swami was very insistent that I do my PhD. So I was missing him all the more on that day. And that morning, when I had gone for a walk to the ashram, in the ashram, I came across an elder, one of the elders who very close to Bhagwan, and someone who has spoken in his presence innumerable number of times. And he's not somebody who usually talks to anybody. But that day, like I said, and Swami wants to send you the message, he will find the person to give it to you. He crosses me and he goes past me, he turns back, he calls me, and he says, "Come here." He says, you know something? One of the times when I was giving a talk in Swami's presence, the next day Swami called me for an interview, and Swami asked me, Swami told him, "You spoke very well, but do you know who's the first person who's listening to your speech?" And he said, "Swami, you." Swami said, "No, try again." He said, "Swami, there's so-and-so seated right in front of the podium. Must have been him, the first person to listen to me." Swami said, "No." So he said, "Swami, you only have to say." Swami told him, "You are the first listener because it is your ear which is closest to your mouth. So you have to be able to listen to what you are saying. Are you paying attention to what you are speaking? Because sometimes you just ramble, right? And that happens because you're not listening to what you're saying yourself." He just said this, "Okay, Sairam," he said, and he continued his walk. And that made all the difference for me. Because I realized that when I was standing there at the podium for my defense, I just needed to pay attention to what I was saying. Because if I made sense to myself, I wouldn't give an opportunity for the evaluators to catch me with something and put me in a spot, right? So likewise, whenever an opportunity to speak comes, to speak about Bhagwan, to speak about our journey with Bhagwan, I think the first beneficiary is the speaker. Because it sets you thinking, you get reflective, and there's only waves of emotion that hit you because you realize how much he has done for you. And unfortunately, we don't always have the time to reflect on that. But when such opportunities come, when you sit and really prepare to think about what you want to say, you realize how much has happened in your life. So in that sense, for me, this retreat is a milestone in my life. Because as Swami himself says, the primary purpose of a milestone is it indicates direction. You know if you're going in the right direction when you see the milestone. And the other thing it indicates is the distance you have to cover still. How much more distance you have to go. So in the process of preparing for the talks at this retreat and during this trip, I realized that this retreat is a milestone for me because it has shown me how much I have traveled, and it has also shown me how much more I need to go. So I thank all of you for this wonderful opportunity to allow me to reflect on my life with Bhagwan. So this morning, what I'm going to do is take this opportunity to open a treasure chest. And this treasure chest is not something that only I have. It's something that each and every one of us have. A treasure chest of memories, a treasure chest of gifts, a treasure chest of love. And from this treasure chest, I'd like to take out and examine 3 of the most precious gems in my possession. And in a sense, you will realize that this story or these stories that I'm about to tell is as much yours as it is mine. Because there's always a sense of relatability when you hear about someone's journey with Swami, or some of the things that Swami has done for someone. You invariably will think, hey, this happened to me too. Right? And that is, I think, is the greatest thing about the avatar, that for each and every one of us, he has apparently scripted an individual story for each of us. Yet it is similar, yet it is unique. Right? So that's what I intend to do today. Take out these 3 gems, and hopefully I will be able to do justice to it before my time's up. The first gem that I want to talk about in my life, the first gift that I have from this treasure chest, is the gift of faith. Now, faith is, Swami says, faith is the foundation of love. You love because you have faith. And the beautiful example he gives is you love your parents because you have the faith that they are your parents. Now, suddenly, if it turns around and you're told that this is not your parent, what happens? Your whole world goes topsy-turvy. So the foundation of love, to be able to love God, faith in God becomes so critical. In my case, like I mentioned yesterday, I came relatively later into Bhagwan's fold. But when I came for the first time to Prashantinilayam, that I remember, it was the year 1995. It was my mother's first trip with someone else who had offered to take her, and she dragged me along. And you all must have seen those adjacent to the Tulsi garden there, the window, which you can see, the cement, the partition on the ladies' side. So when we reached, Swami was going back to his residence, and through that, she just showed me Swami, and she said, "Can you see him there? Can you see him walking there?" I said, "Yes." She said, "That is God." And I have no idea till date why I accepted it just like that. Probably because the faith that my mother can't be wrong. If she's saying it, it must be true. And I realized how easily this gift of faith came. Because, a lot of people, when you read literature, when you talk to people, for some, it takes a lot to believe in some superior power, to the extent that you're ready to hand over your life to that power. And to get it that easily, and we all have got that faith. We all have got that gift of faith. Of course, there are always these moments, incidents, experiences, moments, whatever we call them, that further strengthen that faith. There are also incidents, events, experiences that shake that faith. But I'll talk about 2 incidents that instilled that faith in our family. So my mother is an entrepreneur, and from humble beginnings, with just 4 people, she had managed to scale up the company running into hundreds. They had moved into a new office premises, a prime location in Chennai, one of the arterial roads of Chennai. And one evening, it was newly done up, and one evening as she was sitting in her cabin at about 5 p.m., she felt like going to get herself a cup of coffee from the pantry. And she walks down. It is not something that she usually does, but that day she happened to go down to the pantry. She goes to the pantry, and the corridor extends further, and on the left is the section of the office where the UPS batteries were stored. And she goes, picks up her cup, and she smells like there's something burning. And she goes to take a look, walks down the corridor. She says in front of her eyes, what was just sparks quickly became a fire. And it started spreading. And the smoke started billowing out. So she rushed out to call people to come and do something. And even as she was getting attention to this, the fire has started spreading. Now she says she ran to her cabin, opened her drawer, picked up a picture of Swami and said, I know you have given me this test. Just give me the strength to go through it. And she says she felt a shock when she said that. And she says from then on, she realized or she saw herself be an ace firefighter. She says, I went, took charge of the situation, told them to remove the computers, told them to send all the women employees out first, take away all the burning material, call the fire station, get the extinguishers. She says, and everybody around her was like, how do you know that you have to do all this? But there's no time to think about it, right? And within a few minutes, there's smoke everywhere, nobody can see each other, this whole office is gutted. All right? 6 fire engines had to be brought in order to put out the fire. Okay? Obviously, you have to go in for insurance. The next day, and because it was a major fire by their standards, the top official from the fire station had come to inspect to see why it happened, what had happened. So he goes for the inspection, and he comes and calls my mother and says, who held the fire? Who held the cable? And she says, no. He said, who spotted it first? She said, I spotted it first. He takes her to the point where it appears it has started. And he explains to my mom, he says, see, this is where it has started. And when a wire catches fire, it should go both ways. It starts burning, it should start going both ways. He says, it has gone only on the outside of the building. And right here, it looks like somebody has held all the cables together. It's just been held tight, and the fire has not come inward. If it had come inward, it would have been even more of a calamity. And the fact that it went on the outside, it was only the external wiring and all of that caught fire. It was only the smoke that was coming into the premises. And she says, yeah, I told him nobody was here. And he says, no, somebody must have caught it. She said, I couldn't tell him who it was. We all know who it is. Right? That's when you realize that he's there when you need him. And what more do you need to find that faith? Another experience. Again, it relates to my mother. So they had expanded, and they had to move to another premises because the clients, because both were banking clients, they had to have it in separate premises. So they go to the new office, And it was basically back office work, back office support, which includes data entry. So they named the second company as Try Business Solutions. And when that was the year they started the company with my brother as the founder of the company with her. But that was the year that my brother got admission into Bhagwan's University. So they started it in February, and in that April, he had to join Swami's University. So she was running both the companies. But on day one, the clients had come to kickstart the operations. And so they wanted to do the data entry of the first form. Okay? So they had all the forms had come from the head office. There were thousands of forms stacked up, which had to be digitized. So someone told her, why don't you enter the first form? So she sat, and she tells her manager, she says, just get one form. So he goes to the pile, he just pulls one out, and he comes and gives it to her. She looks at it, she's not entering the form. And they're nudging her, saying, what happened? And she says, look at the name, H. Sai Baba. Not Sai Ram, not Sai Krishna, H. Sai Baba. And there were thousands of forms, and that's not a common name to find, right? And when you're embarking on something new, you just want to know that he's there. You just want him to just tell you that he's there. And see what a loud arrival he gives, so that you don't take it as chance, right? So I think this gift or this gem of faith is something that is so precious to us. The second gift that I would like to talk about, and the third, actually was summarized by Brother Shikhar. Because even as I was walking up, I realized that he pretty much summarized my talk by introducing me. The second gift that I have received, which I hold so dearly, is the gift of bhajans. And I'm not trying to be humble when I say this, when I say that I don't know music. Most people don't believe me. How can you not know music? Have you heard yourself sing? I said, you don't know my story. So I'm here to tell you my story. So this was when I was in school. Like I said, Swami was a presence in the family, but our devotion was restricted to one trip to Parthi once a year. And if he was in Vrindavan, it was easier to reach there, so we went to Vrindavan. And one year it so happened, it was 97, it so happened that Swami was in Kodaikanal, and we had gone to Kodaikanal as a family for vacation, and we didn't even know that Swami would come to Kodaikanal. I mean, looking back, how ignorant we were. That year, Swami had come to Chennai. We didn't even go to see Swami in Chennai, because we didn't know he had come to Chennai. That's how removed we were from the Sai community. And that year in Kodaikanal, we saw Swami's car cross us. So darshan for that year is done. We didn't go. Not that I had a choice, but the family darshan is done. Right? That's how simple it was. So this is around the time when I was in class 10, class 9, class 10. He said, I think the term he used was, he said something academic. Gifted academic, something you said, right? I wasn't so gifted, actually. So back in school, I was backbencher, struggling to just pass, happy with passing. That's all mattered to me. And I loathed math like anything. And as a result of that, science as well. And therefore, if you have to like a subject, I gravitated towards English. I liked English. And I aspired to be a sports journalist, cricket journalist in particular, because I thought, just imagine being paid to go watch a cricket match and write about it. It's a dream job, is that, right? So that's where I was. That's where I was. So, but you all will definitely understand the pressures that parents feel when the kid is closer to class 10 in India. You're made to believe that this is it. Your life ends here. And only later you realize it doesn't matter at all, right? Grade 10 is nothing. But I was giving a lot of trouble to my parents. So they put me in multiple tuitions, and I kept bunking because I just didn't like it. That got me into more trouble, and I got myself into more trouble, so it just kept going like that. So I had a cousin who studied in Vrindavan, who was the first Sai student of the family. So he came home one day, and my mum happened to, spill her cup of woes on him, saying, do something, tell him, he might probably listen to you. So he came over the next week, and he came and gave me a cassette, an audio cassette. The young adults may not understand audio cassettes. They live in the times of Spotify, right? So he gave me an audio cassette, and he said, just listen to this. I said, what is it? He said, you just listen. So I played the cassette. I had a Walkman. I played the cassette. The sound that came out of it, brothers and sisters, it just blew me away. I didn't know what it was, but it drove me mad. Mad. I was obsessed with what that was. So I asked him, what is it? He said, this is Sai Bhajans. Okay, what is it? This is what it is. These are bhajans which they sing in Swami's presence. So that was my orientation, initiation into music, into bhajans, into everything. And that's all I was doing. So my single objective of life in Satyam, somebody's phone is ringing. Single objective was to just take in more and more and more of this because it felt so good. And no music training, I started imitating what that cassette was doing. Or whoever the singer in that cassette, whatever he was doing, I was imitating. Till date, I'm imitating what I hear. Okay? That's how I got into bhajans. So, Swami knows when the time is right for you to go to the next phase. It wasn't enough that I just stayed there listening to bhajans sitting at home. Oh, I passed 10th, by the way, I passed 10th. I moved to high school. So, at this point, there was another alumnus who came home one day, and my mother said, and he was a singer himself, and my mother said, why don't you sing something and show him? And he heard me, and he said, who are you learning from? I said, I'm just learning from the cassette. He said, where do you go for bhajans? You go to any center? I said, no. He said, okay, I'll take you to a gentleman. You come there, he will teach you. So he took me to this gentleman who was one of the founding fathers of the Sundaram Bhajan group. Okay? So I go to his house, and he's a strict, you all must know that Sundaram has its own style of music, right? So when he heard me, I was the Prashanti style. But strange enough, that uncle never messed with my style. He just let me sing as I was, and he asked me to join the samiti that he was attached to. And all this is in a matter of months. Between December and February, I was going to his house, I was learning discipline of bhajans from him. And I was not part of the Sundaram Bhajan group, I was only part of the samiti. Then they organized, that samiti had a very strong youth presence. The men group was very, very strong there, musically very gifted. So they were given an opportunity to sing in Sundaram for Ugadi, do a music program in Sundaram for Ugadi. So he asked me, would you like to sing something? The only thing I knew a few songs apart from bhajans, and I told him I know this Kavali, I would like to pick up that. So 2 other brothers and me were picked to sing a Kavali. So we sang that Ugadi in Sundaram, program came out very well. And within a week they said, that year, people are going to Vrindavan for Tamil New Year's Day, and everybody was so impressed by the talent from that music program, they want to repeat that music program for the elders from Sundaram to pick some singers to sing with the main bhajan group. So we repeated the program on a Sunday, everything done. They later informed us that 3 songs were shortlisted. One of them was the Kavali. But I was the only singer of the 3 picked. And they said the other 2 songs, whoever is singing them, they will join you for the Qawwali. So this is in 2004. And by this time, the only desire was to sing once in front of Bhagwan. Just once, just one time, just let me come and sit there and sing. That's all I want. I'll not ask for anything else. And here it was manifesting itself. So I go to Vrindavan, 2004, Tamil New Year's Day was on April 14th, and we had the music program. Ours was the last song. Again, you don't know when Swami would stop the program. Because Swami, anytime after 25 minutes, you have to be alert to see when Swami wants to call it raps. And this was the last song. He heard the last song, and then he turned around and he asked for Aarti. But in those few moments that the song lasted, I must have been a good 25 feet away from Swami. But once or twice, the eyes locked. And that was it. I realized one is not enough. One won't do. I have to sing again. And then when we came back, it was a natural absorption into the Sundaram Bhajan group because you've sung with them. Okay? So I go to Sundaram every Thursday, every Sunday. Nobody talks to me. In the sense, the Bhajan group convener had switched then, a new gentleman had taken charge. I would go sit, I was part of the furniture. Right? Sit for practice, follow bhajans, get up and go inside to the hall for bhajans, come out, take vibhuti, go home. Repeat, Sunday. Repeat, Thursday. That's going on. But somehow I slowly got involved. They asked me if you would do the altar work. They asked, would you like to come for residence cleaning, Swami's residence cleaning. I got involved in all of that. But nobody asked if you would like to sing. It took 6 months. And it happened by chance. I was so early to Sundaram, I was sitting and singing by myself. And the Bhajan group convener walked in. He heard me, he said, "You're a singer." "Yeah, what did you think?" He said, "Nobody told me." It took 6 months. But in these 6 months, like I said, it was a penance, but it was immense learning. Looking back, if you ask, today you tend to see, if you don't give them a chance for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they jump centers. That's how easy it is now. But you don't understand what you can learn even when you don't get what you want. Right? So I started being a Thursday singer, because Sunday is the A grade, and then you eventually graduate there. But the amount of opportunity that I got to do seva in Sundaram, whether it was Swami's residence, taking care of the altar, taking care of the bhajan group, it was tremendous fun. And of course, the learning with all the elders there, understanding how to practice, what to practice, learning. For me, every bhajan was a new bhajan, because I had not heard all of them anyway, right? So every other day, I was having more and more bhajans to learn. In fact, so by this time, my brother has, parallelly speaking, my brother has joined the university, and he writes letters back home saying, it's an amazing experience to be part of the university because you get to perform in front of Bhagwan. You can sing, you can take part in dramas, Swami might ask you to speak, and these were exactly the things that I was good at. Only things that I was good at, rather, right? I got involved in theater, serious theater in Chennai. I was part of a couple of very prestigious theater groups doing theater performances in Chennai. So this prospect of doing dramas, singing, wow, let's give it a shot. Let's go to study in Swami's University. But by the time it came, my brother came back in 2005. I was part of the Sundaram Bhajan group, pretty well entrenched. And like I said, the next chance came for Tamil New Year's Day of 2005, chance number 2. In between, we made one trip to Prashanti Nilayam as the bhajan group. We had gone, there was no rhyme or reason, we just went and hoped and prayed that Swami would call us for a program. So my only job on that trip was to carry the harmonium from the shed to Mandir and back to the shed. Right? Nothing, no question of even getting the follow mic. But that whole trip taught me patience. It taught me to appreciate what I'm yearning for. Right? If you want it, you have to pray harder. If it hasn't come, you've not prayed enough. Right? So 2005 came, we came to Prashanti Nilayam for Tamil New Year's Day. Again, eyes met. And Swami very beautifully after the program called everybody for a group photograph. The whole lot of us went around Swami, and I was seeing Swami at this distance, and it was an experience. And I was now very sure I have to come here to study, come what may. So the first option that I had was the music college, because I did my undergrad in English literature. First option was to take a course in the music college, which my parents stoutly refused, saying, don't think you're that good to go to music college. Something you're singing, but it's not, you don't know, you don't understand what it means to be in the music college. So the only other option was an MBA. That was really punching above my weight. Okay? Because I had left math in 10th. After class 10, I had not gone towards math. So they said, you better start taking classes. So I went for math coaching. 2006 comes. A couple of very significant opportunities came my way from the point of view of theater and even cinema. Okay? But if I took that road, that would mean that I would miss a lot of college, and that would mean I wouldn't have enough attendance to finish my semester and graduate that year, which means my MBA gets pushed by a year. So I let go of those opportunities and said, no, this is what I want to do. 2006 was, again, Tamil New Year's Day. This time Swami was in Kodaikanal. And just by chance, the other day I didn't even know the video of that existed. And it just popped up on YouTube the other day, and I was scrubbing, and I suddenly see that I'm there in the video. We took the card to Bhagwan, and they asked me to give a flower. And when I went down the aisle to Swami, in my mind's version of reality, Swami looked at me and he gave such a recognizing smile. Oh, you have come. But when I saw that in the video the other day, it wasn't like that. He just smiled. I really was wondering if there was two realities, what the video has captured and what actually I experienced. Swami gave such a beautiful smile, and he took the flower, he blessed, and I happened to get a word across saying, Swami, I've applied for MBA. He just smiled. I go for the entrance exams. Yes, it's another miracle by itself that I got through the entrance exam. I cleared the entrance. I joined for MBA in 2006. So I go in with this tag of being a Sundaram bhajan singer when I entered the hostel at Prashanti. But nevertheless, no carpets are rolled out. You still have to endure the same process. Swami was still in Vrindavan when we joined. And so I went for the audition before Bhagwan reached. He made me sing a few songs. Sir made me sing a few songs. And he said, great. When Swami comes back, you can ask for permission. And that was the process. Swami would have to say yes for you to join the bhajan group. Swami comes back, I think June 8th or June 9th. And he came out in the evening and sat. The first person Swami called was me. I didn't have to endure the wait any longer. It was almost as if he also didn't want me to wait. And he called, he took my letter, and I asked him, Swami, can I sing in Mandir? He said, very happy, sing. Right? Why I'm saying this is because there was another classmate of mine who came from the Sundaram Bhajan group. And he had been in the Bhajan group for more than a decade. Also joined Swami's Institute with the desire to sing. Swami didn't take, so he was an automatic through. He could play the harmonium. He's composed some bhajans as well. He could play the harmonium. He could sing. He had to wait till October of that year till Swami took his letter. You realize only when you see in perspective that, something came so easy. Somebody who should have been an automatic walk-in apparently had to pray a little harder. So that's where my romance with bhajans began. And it's a love story that has, like brother said, it has taken me to different parts of the world. I still look back and say, from where I started, what did I do to get where I've got? And the only thing is the love for bhajans. It's not talent. Yes, it is faith, but it is just namasmaran. And I think that's the only worthwhile thing that I do in my life. Take his name as much as possible, as often as possible. Satyam again, but if I say it any more times, people will think it's a setup. Now coming to the third gift, and this gem is set in the same piece as the other one. They're not separate, which is the gift of life. So where do I begin? So I've joined the MBA program, and you must have heard of the story we tell kids. In order to sell a zebra, they paint a donkey with stripes, and they pass it off as a zebra. And then the first rains, the colors get washed off. It was like that when I approached my classroom. Because the guy to my right was a gold medalist in the BCom program. The guy to my left is again a commerce student, engineering student. And I'm seeing a ledger book for the first time in MBA class. I don't know what is credit, what is debit, which goes where, what comes here, why does it come here? And that's not the time to ask those questions. That's not where you come and you can't even ask these doubts to people. They're like, how did you even come here, right? But in all my innocence, I went and submitted to Swami. I went and told him one day, I said, Swami, MBA rumba kashtamar Swami, I told him. It's very difficult, so I'm seeing stars. Class, the accounts teacher goes, there's a different teacher, statistics teacher who comes and throws things at you, finance comes at you. So Swami just gave me a stern look and said, go sit. So I took it saying, okay, Swami is saying, sit. You start interpreting. Now you've grown, to the point where you think you can interpret messages from Swami's statements. Swami is saying, sit. So sit for class, sit in the exam, everything will be sorted. All right? First semester, I have no qualms in sharing it in public. I failed both the quant-related papers. Gloriously failed it. But I didn't feel bad. In the sense, I would have been surprised if I passed. Because I really didn't know what I was doing in the exam hall. I mean, you can't relate to my level of ignorance unless you've experienced it. It was literally like seeing a planetarium show, because you're seeing stars everywhere. Okay? So we come back, I have to write those papers again, and purely by Bhagwan's grace, I passed. Now, why didn't I pass the first time? No idea, right? I passed. By now, I've started singing in the bhajan group. Again, a reminder that we should always reflect on where we came from. Brother Nikhil was my senior by a year, and he would recall how difficult it was to get a chance to sing in Mandir. Because there were so many singers, we would all get our turn once a week. Once a week, and if lucky, the number would be 7 or 8, with the guarantee that Swami would sit only for 5 bhajans. Right? You are the expendables. Swami doesn't sit, and if Swami doesn't sit for your bhajan, you come back next Tuesday. You don't go the next day and say, yesterday Swami got up, can I sit today? No. We would fight for our chances. You had to be there. And so when you get that chance, when you get that turn, You don't want to mess it up. So you're spending the whole week practicing, knowing that you're going to just get that one turn. You may get that one turn, right? And this is how the bhajan career is progressing. Second semester comes. They also have 2 quant papers, but I'm consoled by saying, just get past these 2. After this, there's no quants. That's only if you take electives. Like, who in their right mind is going to take an elective in quants? And I already had made up my mind. I'm going to take most of my electives in marketing. I write my second semester exams, 2007, and that year I stayed back to see if I would be one of the boys who would go to Kodaikanal. Sorry, I would just like to rewind a little bit. So it's January of 2007, and Swami is expected to go to Chennai for the Atirudra Mahayajna. So I had a room leader, one of my seniors, who gave me a big ego boost. He said, see, Swami has not gone to Chennai in 10 years. The year you have joined, Swami is going to go to Chennai. It's not a coincidence. Okay? And then the news came around that Swami would pick speakers and singers amongst the students to take with him. And this guy told me, you are both. You can speak, you can sing. Definitely you're there in the list. Okay? Just get prepared. And then we're all waiting for the day when Swami would pick boys. And that was the only thing that we were looking for whenever we went to bhajans. Show your face. You know, Swami, I'm here. In case you're looking for me, I'm here. But apparently nothing of that sort happened. We didn't get to know who's going, who's not going. Until the news broke out that the list has been finalized. My name was not there in the list. Okay? This room leader could have kept quiet. He told me a story of a teacher. He said, you know, last year when Swami went to Kodaikanal, there was a teacher. His name was not there in the list. Okay? And he prayed really hard. And you know what he did? He had such faith that he packed his bag. And he kept praying. The previous night, Swami sent word saying, come. So don't think it's over. You pray and you wait. So I had only 4 or 5 sets of whites. So I kept 2 aside, and I kept all the other sets. I washed and pressed and packed it up. And I survived on 2. Wear this today, wash it, dry it tomorrow. Tomorrow's set A and B. Just keep alternating because you don't know when Swami is going to go. And you can't then go to Chennai with dirty whites and figure out where you're going to find your whites, even if I was going back home. It was an excruciating 4-5 days of severe penance and constantly holding on to that story. Just wait, Swami is going to call you. Previous night, that sir got a call the previous night. I'm waiting. No call. This guy could have kept quiet? No. Brother, don't give up. Tomorrow morning, Swami can send word. I said, okay, yeah. You know, when you're sinking, even a straw seems like something good to hold on, however senseless or stupid it may be. So I waited for next morning. And next morning, I'm just telling you, when you look back, you realize how audacious you are. I was leaving the hostel. Everybody's going to Mandir because Swami is leaving for the airport. Okay? I took my suitcase. I left it at the lobby with the suitcase of the boys going. And I told one boy, I said, see, if Swami tells me in Mandir to go to airport, no, I'll send word, don't forget to load this suitcase with this. This is mine. Means it is faith, full faith. And I went to Mandir. Swami came, Swami took Aarti. Swami's car is going, and I'm thinking Swami is just going to look at me and say, go. Means because he knows I'm ready. This Swami wants to test you till the end, he will test you. And he knows, yeah, go. Because he knows everything is sorted. Swami's car is crossing me. Swami looked at me, but he didn't say anything. And that's when the whole thing collapsed, and that's when realization dawned that I'm not going to Chennai. And Swami drove away. So then I came back, and I was thinking, what is this? Why did I even aspire for this? I mean, how stupid I've been all these days, living or chasing a dream that it existed only in my head, a possibility that just wasn't there. So this whole thing repeated itself in 2007. This is in January. In April, Swami is going to Kodai. I didn't listen to my room leader, but I did my own, like many students would. I stayed back to see if, Swami would pick me to go to Kodaikanal. But it had the Chennai trip had its after effects. So literally the same lot got picked to go to Kodaikanal that year. Maybe one or two exceptions, but everybody went, the same group went. So I came back home. And then, come back in June, about maybe after 2-3 weeks after we had reopened, the buzz was there in college that the results are coming. Second semester results are going to be announced. So I still have the habit, I don't like to see my results. Just come and tell me the news. I don't want to go see it. Wading through those crowds and going and looking in the notice board is not my cup of tea. Not much to see there anyway, so just tell me what's there. So between the second hour and the third hour, news came that the results have been posted. So I told a good friend of mine, I said, go see my results, I'm not coming. Plus, I already have the experience of the first semester. So he went, and when he came back to class, from his face, obviously I'm an seasoned campaigner, right? So from his face, I knew something was up. So I looked at him and I said, gone, huh? He said, yeah. I said, quants? He said, yes. I said, yeah, no surprise. Finance? He said, yes. I said, okay. So, all right. So be it if I have to write them again, but maybe I'll clear it the next time. He said, no, but there's one more. I said, no, that's not possible. What is that paper? And he said, you failed in HR, human resources. I said, no way. Just for my language, just for my English, I would have passed, right? I had enough sense in that answer script. He said, no. And then they told me the rule that at postgrad level, if you have failed 3 papers, you have to repeat that semester. So you discontinue and join back for the second semester again. Now, this was too big. I mean, even by my standards, this was too much to handle, right? I'd never lost a year. So I come out after the third hour. I go down the staircase and I see the notice board for myself. And in the printout, if you're failed, it'll have these asterisks, 3-4 asterisks, fails, 3-4 asterisks. So a lot of stars there, because 3 subjects. I come down and I bump into the warden. The warden is standing there, and the first question that the warden asked me is, so when are you vacating the hostel? I said, why? He said, no, if you failed 3 papers, you have discontinued the course. And if you're not a current student, you have to, by rules, you have to vacate the hostel. Take your time, but start figuring out where you want to go. So I said, suddenly it struck me, I said, sir, I'm going to apply for retotaling. Because if you apply for retotaling, the process is still on, you're buying time. He said, he also knows that, right? So he nodded, he said, okay, try. But now when I'm on this side, after I've become a teacher, I realize how much more significant my failure was, because people who don't get the required cutoff to pass, their papers are reviewed to see if something has been missed out. And we used to have, we have double evaluation, 2 teachers evaluate, right? And if there is a big difference, like more than X percentage of difference between the first evaluation and the second evaluation, it goes for a third evaluation. So it's not easy to fail. That's what I'm saying, right? So I come down, but now, more than vacating the hostel, my first task on hand is making sure this news doesn't reach my family in Chennai. Okay? And there are enough people whom my brother knows because his classmates, his juniors, they're all there around. And my mother has some friends. So this is news. This is like proper news, right? So I had to plug all the holes, make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So this happened on a Friday. So Saturday and Sunday, I'm waiting for the re-evaluation to come. And all along, I'm making a call back home and pretending like all is normal. Nothing, no issues, everything's fine. Sunday evening, I called my mom. And I said, how are you, where are you, and all that. And it sounded a little noisy behind her. And that was not the time of the day for her to be out of home. I said, where are you? She said, I took the 7 o'clock bus to Parthi. I go, why are you coming? What is wrong? Why are you coming? And she just remarked, she said, I don't know, I felt like seeing you. So here, I don't know if my mother's playing, she knows and she's pretending she doesn't know. So I can't assume that she knows. So I said, why? But why? She said, I don't know, I just felt like coming. The mother's instinct knows. You can't win. You just can't win. And she landed up the next morning. Now it's doubly dangerous. She may bump into somebody, right? So I had to shepherd her from the hostel and make sure that she goes straight to Mandir. And by then, I was under so much of stress that I was sick. I felt sick. So when she came the next morning, peak, I was feverish, everything. She said, no, you're not looking good, let's go to the general hospital. So we went to the general hospital. And the doctor there saw me and touched me and touched my stomach. And she said, a lot of gas. I said, I don't know, have you been eating? Yeah, I've been eating. Temperature. Then she asked a question. Is there something that is bothering you? And with my mom next to me, right? I mean, no, doctor, no, we are ace actor, right? I mean, so all of that comes out. No, doctor, absolutely no problem. Everything is fine. In my head, I'm thinking, doctor also knows my results or what? I mean, news has spread even to the general hospital. So I said, no, doctor, everything is fine. And she said, okay, I think we need to put IV drips. Looking very weak. And they put IV. And she left. This is at about 11:30, 12. So by then, I realized time's up. I can't hold this out anymore. But I thought this is the best place to break it. Lying in bed, IV running, then doctor saying you're sick, then you tell your mother, the blow will be a little softer on you when it comes back, right? Sympathy might kick in. So then I said, Amma, I have to tell you something. She said, what? I said, I failed in my second semester. Again, my mother is my mother. She knows that I would have failed in quants. I said, no, the problem is I failed in 3 papers. I have to discontinue. Obviously, she teared up a little. She was a little upset. She said, okay, what to do now? I said, they've asked me to vacate the hostel. Now, we'll go to Mandir this evening. After that, I can go talk to the warden and shift my luggage out. She said, okay. So then that afternoon, I was going to Mandir for darshan. My mother wrote a letter to Swami and she said, can you give this to Swami? So I sat in the bhajan hall. Back then, Swami would come earlier for bhajans. Bhajans were inside. And sometimes Swami would come at 3:30, 4, 4:30, whenever, if he's not calling somebody for an interview, he'll sit there and he'll talk to the bhajan boys. Swami came early that day. Swami didn't take anybody for interview. Swami came and sat. And even as he was sitting, he called me out. So I went and I told Swami, Swami, Amma has given a letter. Now I have to break the news to Swami. Right? And Swami, I said, don't care for marks, care for remarks. Here both are taking a hit, right? So my problem was how to tell Swami without Swami being offended that I didn't put enough effort, right? So I worded it beautifully, or so I thought. I said, Swami, they have asked me to come back in November. Because I was also told that exam results are always shown to Swami. Swami would see the exam results, and more so the cases like me would be pointed out to Swami. So Swami is omnipresent, and Swami would have been informed physically. So I said, Swami, they've told me to come back in November. He opened my mother's letter, and I'm hearing Swami say something, but I'm not able to understand what he's saying. Actually, Swami was reading out my mother's letter to me. He was telling me, this is what your mother has written. And in that, my mother had written one line, Swami, ultimately you know what is best. And she had put a nice underline to that. Swami showed that line to me, and Swami said, see what your mother has written. So I turned, I looked at the letter. I said, with full faith, I said, yes, Swami, I have no doubt. You know what is best. He said, go to Chennai and come back. Right? So I took Padnamaskar. And then Swami said, tell Amma, I will speak to her tomorrow. Now this was the actual balm you wanted. Right? So he said, I'll speak to her tomorrow. I said, thank you, Swami. I went, I vacated hostel. We came for darshan the next morning. Swami came for darshan. They allowed me to sit in front because Swami had told me that he would talk to my parents, to my mother. And I had told my mother, based on all the literature that I've read, I said, see, if Swami calls for interview, I will come out to the veranda. You're supposed to stand in that corner. I can't look at the lady's side. Wherever you are sitting, look out for me. If you see me, you have to get up and come. I can't do anything. All this, based on what I've read, I gave her all these instructions and I'm sitting. Swami came straight into the bhajan hall. He looked at me. He sat for bhajans. Bhajan started. So I thought, okay, maybe during bhajan Swami would call. He took Aarti. And he went. Okay, Swami said tomorrow, maybe evening he would call. So I went in the evening. Same thing happened. Swami didn't call. Next morning, same thing. Repeats in the evening. Third day, when Swami didn't call, politely that brother who was on duty, he said, from tomorrow you can sit back. Which meant he's not calling. Okay? But in those 3 days, a lot of the storm had settled. Okay? So it was time for my mother to go back because she had work. So we left. We left Prashanthinilayam. I went home to a hero's welcome. Okay? My brother, who felt I had brought disrepute to his name, refused to talk to me, refused to be in the same room as me. So I endured this for a few months. But in these few months, I told myself, let's work on what you don't know. So I took coaching for the subjects that I failed. So I joined back in November of 2007. It's so much to say. Okay, I'm still talking about one gem. I haven't gone to the other. So I joined back. I finished my first year after 2 years. Okay? So in 2008, I finished my first year. And I didn't, by the end of that year, actually I must add this part, when I started sitting for the classes, I was technically taking that course for the third time. The first time, I've studied it in Chennai, and I'm repeating that for the third time. And approaching the end semester examinations for the first year, I'm blank again. And again, I'm telling you, that state of blankness is that Swami says, aspire for that thoughtlessness, no? It is nearly there. I see the sum. If I see the sum, I know the answer because I've worked it so many times, but I don't know what to do. And then one of my professors, and he's one of my most dearest professors because it was his paper that I failed every time. I went to him and confessed. Just before the exams, I confessed to him, I said, sir, most likely I'm failing again, but it is not a reflection of your teaching skills. I didn't want him to feel bad for me. But he told me, he said, your job is to put pen to paper. You put pen to paper, right? Don't miss doing that. Because I even contemplated quitting. Because I didn't want to fail again. Because again, if you fail, you're done for life. Why take that? Just run away from what you can. But he said, just go put pen to paper. So I went, and literally I did only that. I put pen to paper and sat like this. Half an hour I sat, waiting for some magic to happen. Nothing happened. He usually comes around the exam hall with homeopathy medicines for anybody who's unwell. He looked at me and said, I said, see, pen is on paper. And then out of sheer boredom, I started writing. Because you can't leave the hall. And after some time, I started writing. I don't know what I wrote. I didn't write Om Shri Sai Ram, right? I don't know what I wrote. But I was sure, done. Job done. I didn't even stay back to see if Swami is going to going to Kodaikanal. 31st March, exam ended. 7 p.m. I took the bus and ran. So I don't want to stay here. I'm done. But I had to report back in June. And when I came back in June, it was just a matter of time before the results come. So I told myself, just enjoy. 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, just enjoy. Because it's going to close. And Swami is in Prashanthi Nilayam. Swami didn't go to Kodaikanal that year. He is in Prashanthi Nilayam. And every day Swami is talking to me. Every day. No rhyme or reason. I just have to hold a chit of paper. He would call and give me a Pad Namaskar. And chances. We had to put up a program in Bhajan Hall. I became the de facto in charge of the program. I don't even know how I landed up there. I was right in front of Bhagwan. I've never been that close. And in my mind, I'm telling myself, Swami knows results are going to come. He's just giving you before your time's up. Take it. That's what this is. This is just the last shower before the summer. Just take it. So this went on for about 3 weeks. And suddenly, I'm realizing the fact that this is going to end. Tomorrow morning, if the results come, I'm gone. That reality hit me a little late. Till then, that love, that you're just enjoying that love, you realize that it's going to be over. What am I going to do after that? And then I started sweating about the results. Till then, I didn't care for the results. But the results came, and purely by Bhagwan's grace, I passed all the papers. Okay? Second year kicks in, and second year was a glorious year because you're in the final year, you get preferences for everything, you get chances, you get to lead. I got a chance to be in the convocation drama, I was part of the sports meet drama. It was the most beautiful year, and with that weight of those maths papers gone, I could actually enjoy, my time. But my only focus all through was only to sing. Just sing, keep singing, because, in fact, the other day I had been to Sundaram before I came here. I had this yesterday I mentioned, right, Swami says, ask for whatever you want until you ask for what I've come to give. And I said I had some incredulous things that I've asked him. So I had an OCD of keeping my chappal in the exact same spot whenever I would go to Sundaram. Okay? And they would have numbers. Those pigeon boxes would have numbers. This was number 537. So for weeks, my chappal would always go into that box. And if somebody had already put it there, I'd move theirs to the next and put mine there. And one day, when I was walking in, I just threw a dare at Swami. I said, Swami, so much I love you and I love bhajans, no? You should make me sing 537 bhajans in front of you. Then we have a deal, I'll really accept that you know what I'm doing here. I crossed 537 effortlessly. I stopped counting the day I hit 537. Right? So he just, if he decides to give, and we've asked for really ridiculous things. Means I saw my brother's photos with Bhagwan, and I was jealous. Right? So I told Swami one day, I prayed to Swami saying, Swami, you've given him so many photos, no? I should have 3 times the number of photos he has. What? Why only he should have photos? I should also get, and I should not get as many as him. I should have more than him. He gave. When my brother was part of a drama on Independence Day of 2004, he was the lead role. And after the drama, Swami called the actors, the boys, and first he called my brother, and subsequently when he went down to give photos for 3 others, for 4 people, Swami materialized the same ring, identical ring to all 4 of them. I didn't go to Parthi that time because I had exams here, but when my mother came back and she said, Swami created a ring for your brother, and 4 of them, Swami gave the same ring. So I prayed to Swami saying, Swami, you have to give me also a ring. There's no choice, right? You have to. But I don't want this 4 of a type. It should look unique. This mass manufactured, no, I want customized one. And Swami obliged. Right? Like this, I was spending my time in Prashanti Nilayam, really experiencing Prashanti in my final year. Until it came to February of 2009. That's around the time of the year when students typically ask Swami what they should do next. So I also sat with a letter. I had no preferences of my own. I didn't know if I wanted to stay back and serve Bhagwan or if I had to go back to Chennai. But I mentally prepared myself for both possibilities. Because in my head I thought, if you want to go and Swami says stay, staying becomes difficult. Even Prashanti can become difficult because your heart is elsewhere. And if you want to stay and Swami says go, you tend to feel that, Swami has sent you away types. So I thought, let him decide. Let me accept both with the same feeling. But if Swami were to ask, what do you want to do? I would tell Swami, I'd like to drive your car. I love driving. So I said, Swami, I thought I could tell him that. So that is the only response that I had put in my head. So Swami called me and took my letter. I said, Swami, what should I do next? Swami looked at me and said, PhD Chai. My first fear was, you are imagining this. He's not saying, how would he say PhD to you? You are imagining this, and I'm telling you, the whole world blacked out. And only Swami I'm seeing in a blurred way. I'm able to make out where Swami is. Everything else is vanished. No, you have to get this clarified. No, this is not happening. So I said, Swami, nuvu PhD chai. Now, if you have told him you'll do whatever he asks you to do, you have to accept it. So I said, okay, Swami, because you are saying, I'll do it. And his response to that was not to my liking. Okay? So I said, Swami, I'm telling you again, Swami, because you told, no, I'll do it. Santosham, Tisko, he told. I took Padnamaskar, I came back and sat, and when I sat in the 3rd block where the students sit, I can hear the waves of, Swami told him PhD, Swami told him PhD, Swami told him PhD, Swami told him PhD. It's going around like a buzz that Swami has told this fellow to do PhD. I come back to hostel, it's like my room is like a condolence. Go to the dining hall, Sairam brother, sorry, Swami told you to do PhD? Yeah, Swami told you to do PhD. Okay. Now, I obviously knew that it's his command. So I went and reported this to the head of the department. I told him, Swami has told me to do PhD. And to keep it polite, because this might go online, I'll just say that he gave me the pasting of my life. And he said, no chance. I said, I agree with you, no chance. I don't want to do it. He said, I'll tell Swami. I said, okay. It's up between you and him. That if you, as administrator, if you can tell Swami, and Swami agrees, I'm okay. I'm ready. I actually want to drive his car. I don't want to come. But then, after that, I had to go back and tell Swami. Right? So, Swami, what? He's saying this, you're saying this, what should I do? And Swami stops looking at me. That beautiful cold storage that the master can put you through, painful, excruciating, and you will never think that there is love in it, but it is only love. In fact, in a letter to the students, Swami writes that love takes different forms. Sometimes it comes down like rain. Sometimes it comes down like a drizzle. Sometimes it comes down like a hailstorm. And it hurts when it hits. And Swami says, but if you just wait, when it hits the ground, you'll realize that all of it is love, water. Right? So, I couldn't get through to Swami at all. And the whole of the month went like that. Now I had an opportunity to give a rose to Bhagwan after Aarti. So I thought, here's my chance. Because we were waiting that year, if Swami goes to Kodai, I decided to wait. Swami, I wrote only one line in that letter. I said, Swami, I finished my PhD. I finished my MBA. Swami opened the letter, he read it and he said, MBA aipoinda? He said, means is it over? 2.5 years it took. What are you saying, is it over? Ask me, it felt like 6 years. Swami, aipoindi, Swami. I'm so sorry. I should have given a very, very important part which I missed mentioning. So in this 1 month that I was waiting to catch his attention, one night I had a dream. And in my dream, I tried to give a letter to Bhagwan. He stopped. He took the letter. I said, Swami, I want to talk to you for 2 minutes, but we have to talk alone. Because I have to tell about the HOD, no? So I can't do it in public because he's sitting like 10 feet away. So I said, Swami, I have to talk to you for 2 minutes, but I want to talk to you alone. Swami caught my ear. I was kneeling down. Swami was being... So he caught my ear and he said, come. And he didn't let go of my ear. So Swami is going towards the interview room. I'm on my knees, crawling with him not letting go of my ear. I deserved this for what I have done so far, right? He took me into the interview room, and there was only Swami and I. And Swami said, what? I said, Swami, you told me to do PhD. He said, yes. Now, I can't complain about the head of the department, right? So I said, Swami, but in the university, they said I don't have the marks for it because MBA I have not performed, right? I don't have the credentials to pursue a PhD. Then Swami just looked at me and said, నేను PhD చెప్పాను కానీ మేనేజ్మెంట్ చెప్పలేదే. He said, I told you PhD, but who said that you have to do it in management? నువ్వు ఇంగ్లీష్లో చెయ్యి. So this opened a wholly different window. I said, Swami, English. He said, yes, do it in English. But then I have to do my master's in English. And we don't have MA English in the university for the men. I said, Swami, but I have to do MA English. Chai, chaduvu. Again, means one more degree. Then I said, Swami, but then even in my dream, I got the feeling, okay, Swami wants you around. 2 years you're supposed to stay, it's become 3. Now he's saying PhD. Before that, he's saying do MA. Like he's not ready to see you go. I said, Swami, should I stay here and do it in correspondence? Or should I go somewhere and do it? Because we don't have, MA English here. Nen tarvata cheptanu. He said, I'll tell you later. And I woke up. And when I woke up, this ear was red and swollen. And that was proof enough for me that it was not a dream. And he's given me the answer. I will tell you later. So the later will come. Just have to wait for that later. So now, coming to that April 1st week, I had the chance to give the rose. I gave the letter, Swami, PhD is done. Aipoinda, he asked. I said, yes, Swami. Now for me, I wanted to further reaffirm if that dream was a dream or if it was an instruction. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So I picked up the conversation with him where we left it off in the dream. So I said, Swami, you said you will tell. If it's true, then you have to pick up the conversation from right there. Swami just looked straight and he said, "Nee Chennai ki poi MA padi," he said. Straight, okay? But, he said, "Ana, MA mudicha vodane tiruppi inge vandudu," he said. I said, okay, great. Okay, Swami, I'll do that. I took namaskar and went. Now, because for lack of time, I'll quickly jump. So that year, Swami took us to Kodai, and I was blessed to be in that group to go to Kodai. And in Kodai, multiple times Swami kept asking me, what are you doing next? I was thinking, Swami, you already told me to do. I said, Swami, you told me to do MA, you told me to do PhD. Okay. One more day he asked me, what are you doing next? I said, Swami, you said MA. No, you go to a bank and work, he said. I said, no, bank lo pani chahiye. I said, no, Swami, I don't want to work in any bank and all. Okay. Then I realized that I moved from saying, Swami, you told me to do, to saying, Swami, I am going to do. And one time when he asked me, I said, Swami, I am going to do MA, and then I'll do PhD, Swami. That was the last time he asked. He was waiting for me to say, I don't want you to do it for me, because that doesn't last. Right? You do it. Tell me you want to do it. And with that, he stopped asking about it. Now in Kodaikanal, one day, Swami was talking about prapti, deservedness, to Professor Venkatraman sir. And Swami was just remarking something to him, and my understanding of Telugu was very limited back then, almost nil. And Swami just looked at me and he said, how many people in your class? Nee class lo enta mandi unnaru? 50 was the only number I knew in Telugu, 50. So, because they'd sell on the road in Prashantanilayam, during birthday time, they'll sell all these roadside, they'll say 50 for everything, right? So that's the only number I knew. And that's the answer. How beautiful. So I responded saying, Swami, 50 mandi unnaru, Swami. So Swami looked at the professor and said, Chudu Venkatraman, Idu class lo 50 mandi unnaru. Kani nenu veedu matrame teeskoni vachanu, he said. My first reaction, that is Swami said, in his class he says there are 50 boys, but Swami brought only this boy. I brought only him with me. And Swami said, see, in the plane there is a lot of place, but prapti should be there to come. That conversation continued. But in my head, my first instinct was to say, no, Swami, I'm not the only one in my class. Because that year, from my class, I had some 8 or 9 of us who had come to Kodaikanal. So my first instinct was to tell Swami, no, Swami, you're wrong. There are 9 of us or 8 of us from the class. But no to shut your mouth, and when you ask the question, answer. Don't have to add addendum to that is not required. So I kept quiet. And within a couple of seconds, it hit that from the MBA class of 50 from 2006, I was the only one sitting there. All my classmates were the batch of 2007 to 9. I was batch of 2006, who's still there in 2009. He's always right. And then, it's all falling into place. If I didn't fail, I would have never gone to Kodaikanal with Bhagwan, because he didn't go in 2008. He didn't go in 2008. He went in 2007. He didn't go in 2008. He went in 2009. And to go with him to Kodaikanal, losing 1 year is nothing. I'd lose 10 years, 15 years of my life. Any one of us would. Any one of us would. But how beautifully he just made me realize that what's meant to be will be. And then that line which he underlined and read out to me, Swami knows what is best. Just take it that whatever comes your way is meant to be that only. Right? So today, I finished my, I joined my MA. In fact, the heart tries. It refuses to stop trying. So I went back to Chennai after we came from Kodaikanal. I took permission from Swami to go and get applications. I had to apply somewhere. So I decided to go back to my alma mater, Loyola College in Chennai. I'll pursue my MA there. I went and bought the application, the prospectus. I came back to Prashanthi Nilayam. I thought I'll take Swami's blessings. And in my mind, I was thinking, if Swami sees some other college's prospectus, he might say, no, don't go. Ikade undu, study from here. Maybe he might not. The thing of, why should he go to some other college? Let him stay here. So I showed him the prospectus. He went through every page. He blessed the application form like that. Apply, he said, and gave it to me. The die is cast. There is no getting away from it. He took the prospectus and went. Right? So I went back. I joined for my MA program in 2009. And I completed it in 2011. My last MA exam was on April 19th of 2011. And I can say it with absolute certainty and honesty that if my exam was after the 24th of April, I would have never finished my MA degree. I would not have had the heart to do it. Right? And when my exam ended, on 24th morning, sir, I'm sorry if I'm going to extend by a couple of minutes. Right? On 24th morning, we were in Chennai. My father had gone to, the family had gone to Prashanthi Nilayam. I was having my exams. Swami had gone to hospital, but my mom and my brother had to come back on account of work. My father said, I'm not coming back. I'm staying put. Till I have darshan, I'm not coming back. So we were at home. So that morning I had a dream. And in my dream, I was standing outside the ICU of the super specialty hospital. And suddenly I was given an opportunity to go inside. And when I went in, Swami was lying down on the bed, but it was all dark. And when I went closer to Swami and called out, I said, Swami, Swami. So there was, this OT lights, right? So that light came on. Swami asked, switch on the light, and somebody put on that light. And my head, the shadow of my head was falling on Swami's face. So I'm seeing Swami's crown of hair, I'm seeing Swami there, but I'm not able to see Swami's face. I said, Swami, what is this, Swami? Please get well soon, Swami. We're all waiting to see you. And it was Swami's voice. Swami said, everything will be all right. Everything will be fine. And it is only then that I'm realizing that I'm not yet able to see Swami's face. So I moved to let the light fall on Swami's face. I saw the face of my mother. I woke up with a start because I didn't expect to see my mother there. I didn't know, what is this dream? It's very mixed. I woke up, and within 20-25 minutes is when we got the message. And we rushed to Patti. But this is what is going on in my mind, that Swami, when he told me on April 6th, 2009, the moment you finish your MA, come back. Don't think. Don't apply logic. Don't let your emotions come in the way. Just come back. And the line that he told me that day, that everything will be fine. When I look at my life, it's been more than fine. And all the most, not the most, but many significant moments in my life have happened after 2011. from my PhD, which he so dearly wanted extracted out of me. Everything in life. I got a job, got married, have a son. Yes, you know that he's not there to go communicate that. Those milestones of life which we all imagined we would have an opportunity to interact with him. But like I said yesterday, he's never let me feel that he's not there. Because you realize that he knows what is best. If you recognize that he knows what is best and that everything will be fine, why worry? I believe that he's, and I know that he's watching over me every single moment of my life. I'll close with another incident, and that I promise you, sir, that'll be the last. So when I was doing my PhD, this was in 2018, something in me kept telling me that I have to finish it the next year. I had a very, very strong feeling that 2019 convocation, you should get your PhD. So I'm working for that, working harder because the process is slightly, tedious. So in 2018, I wanted to, so my thesis has a lot to do with cricket. So that writer did get to write after all, right? So I reached out to someone who told, and I thought it would add value to speak to some cricketers about the game. So I reached out to someone who said that they would help me meet some players because the players would be coming for practice to Chennai. So he told me, such and such a date, give yourself a week and come. Because you never know when they'll find time, but we'll try to make something happen. So I planned my classes, I finished my syllabus, all of that, and took a study leave of a week, and I went to Chennai. I land in Chennai, I call that gentleman, he doesn't take my call. Okay, and then I'm trying the whole week, I'm just doing everything in my powers to try to reach out to him because I want to finish my PhD, right? And nothing happened. The whole week went just like that. Apart from the fact that I wasted a week, the disappointment of not getting my material was also weighing me down. I had to figure out what is plan B now. So I ditched this idea of getting cricketers to talk. Well, how can I fill that gap in my thesis? So I was to leave back to Prashantinilayam. So I looked at the picture in my room. I looked at him and said, why? Why did this have to come down like this? 10 minutes, 15 minutes is all I sought in the whole week, and it didn't happen. And then I thought I'll pick up a book to read because I had to go sit at the airport and fly and then take the taxi. I thought I'll take a book instead of buying books at the airport, which we never end up reading. So I said, I'll pick up a book from my cupboard. So a few weeks prior to this event, I'm missing stories today. A few weeks prior to this, when I was reading up, I was reading up for my thesis. I came across a book called 22 Yards to Freedom by Boria Majumdar. Okay, that's the name of the author. So I had never in my 4.5 years come across that book. So I quickly Googled that book, and it looked like it had a lot of content which could be very useful for me. So I looked up the price of the book. It was 23,000 rupees. It was a very limited edition and only few copies are left. I weighed the pros and cons of spending 23,000 rupees for a single book without really knowing if it's going to help you or not. Then the backbencher in me told me, see, till 10 minutes back, you didn't know this book existed. And suddenly now it's become like the most important thing of your research. Like as if you can't progress without it. Only you know it exists. Just forget that you saw this book. Continue your research. All will be fine. So that's how I proceeded. So now coming back to home, I'm leaving for the airport. I opened my cupboard to see if any books that might interest me. And as I'm just glancing through them, I see 22 Yards to Freedom. So I'm again telling myself, you're imagining seeing this book. It's not there. And then I said, okay, what is it? But let's just see. I pick it out. It is 22 Yards to Freedom by Boria Majumdar. Okay. I open the book. It says, Happy birthday, Sidhu. And I look up to see the date, 26th December 2004. Signed off, lots of love, Poppy. Till date, I don't know who that Poppy is. I have no idea who that Poppy is. I've tried to rack my brains to remember who this person was. 2004, what was I doing? Where was I? Who did I meet? In 2004, that book's value is 495 rupees. Today, that book is 25,000. With the cost apart. For a few minutes prior to that, for someone who looked at his photo and said, "What are you doing? You're not helping me finish my PhD." You open the cupboard and there's a book waiting for you. Now, the bigger revelation for me is, and with this I will close, that this book came to me in 2004. But he told me to do a PhD in 2009. And the book comes to me in 2018. Till then, it's just been sitting in the cupboard. So when I think of being told to do a PhD, when did he actually set the plan rolling? The book has come to me before I came to Swami. Right? So when Swami writes in his the poem that he writes, "The bird with you, the wings with me, the foot with you, the path with me, the eye with you, the form with me, the thing with you, the dream with me. So are we free and so are we bound. And so we begin and so we end. The bird with you, the wings with me." He's been the wings and he's been the wind beneath the wings. I look back at my life, I realized that the only thing that I did was I just came to him. He's just taken over. And the further and further you go down in life, you realize that it's actually only him in control. The bird with you, but the wings are with him. The foot is with you, but he draws the path for you. He chooses the path for you. And it is the wings of a bird that decides everything for the bird. Which direction, how high, how low, how fast, how slow, right? And when he is the wings, let's just believe that, just go on autopilot. Let him take over. Let us remember that every moment of our lives has been scripted for us in the most beautiful way possible. Thank you so much for this opportunity to reflect. Sadhana.